The Sealion is finally here. It's finally we have prices, and the price is actually quite good. BYD's Sealion 7, their electric SUV. It's a very similar size to a Tesla Model Y and Xpeng G6. BYD have released the price, the specifications, the range in Australia. And, you know, I actually thought it would be a little bit cheaper than this, but here are the details, and here's what my thoughts are on whether or not whether or not this is, for one, going to be the best-selling EV in Australia, as BYD have said it will be. Well, they've said it will be the best-selling BYD EV in Australia, and whether or not, you should consider buying one. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Great to have you with us. BYD Sealion 7. It is 55,000 Australian dollars for the cheaper version. That's the rear-wheel drive version. If you want all-wheel drive, the all-wheel drive version is a bit more expensive. It is $63,400 for the all-wheel drive version. Now, technically, that does mean it's cheaper than Tesla's vehicles, right? The Tesla Model Y, the new version, the Juniper version. It's not cheaper than Tesla's old Model Y. I mean, there's still old Model Ys that you can buy now for about this price, or maybe a little bit cheaper than this for the old version of the Tesla Model Y. Xpeng G6 is a similar price. The G6 is $55,000 for the standard rear-wheel drive, but the long-range rear-wheel drive is $60,000. So pricing is interesting, and BYD said it would undercut some of its rivals. Is it really undercutting Tesla? Not really, I don't think. I mean, at this point in time, it's true that the new version of the Tesla Model Y Juniper is more expensive, but Tesla have already admitted to the fact that within 6 months, they will have the standard range version of the Model Y will be a non-launch version, and it will be cheaper. It will come down in price, probably be similar to this in price. So that means it's $2,000 more expensive than the equivalent BYD Seal sedan, which costs $53,000 and $62,000 respectively. Now, it does undercut the Kia EV5. The Kia EV5 starts at $56,770. To be honest, I don't think the Kia EV5 is really on par with this car or with the Xpeng G6 or Tesla Model Y. I think the Kia EV5 should be significantly cheaper than all of those cars in order to be a serious option that you should consider. So this is a 5-seat family car. There's no 7-seat option. It's a 5-seat option. It's slightly bigger on the outside than an Xpeng G6 and a Tesla Model Y, but because of the packaging, the shape of the car, the interior space is quite similar. Boot space, though, well, that's not similar. Anyhow, we'll get to that in a second. Both models, the rear-wheel drive and the all-wheel drive, get an 82.6 kilowatt-hour lithium iron phosphate blade battery, which has 482 kilometers of range, WLTP. That's the base model. Now, the all-wheel drive model gets 456 kilometers of range. Of course, add an extra motor, you're going to add a bit of extra weight, and efficiency will go down. So 456 kilometers in the all-wheel drive. DC fast charging is 150 kilowatt for both models. Now, in Europe, there's a different version, and in the UK, there's another version that has faster charging, has a bigger battery pack. It's got a 91 kilowatt-hour battery. So that model gets 502 kilometers of range, and it can charge at 230 kilowatts. That model is not coming to Australia, unfortunately. I think that model would have been quite nice, but yeah, that's not coming. One thing that is coming, though, is 11 kilowatt AC charging. So generally, BYDs have 7 kilowatt in the past. It's been bumped up to 11 kilowatt AC. Personally, I only have a 7 kilowatt charger, so that wouldn't really affect me. And the reason for that for me is I'm always charging on solar. I never want to charge using grid power. And the 7 kilowatt basically guarantees that I'm always going to just be using solar. Anyhow, power. Power is similar to the Xpeng G6. It's a 230 kilowatt, 380 newton meter motor. That's in the rear-wheel drive. All-wheel drive is 390 kilowatt and 690 newton meters. And performance of the rear-wheel drive it's a bit slower than comparable cars. The Xpeng G6 with a similar power motor, it has the ability to do 0 to 100 in 6 seconds. Now, this will do it in 6.7. And the reason for that is it's a fair bit heavier. It's about 250 kilograms heavier than an Xpeng G6 and a Tesla Model Y. The all-wheel drive version, that will do 0 to 100 in 4.5 seconds. So how big is it actually? Well, it's 4,830 millimeters long, 1,925 millimeters wide. Wheelbase is 2,930 millimeters. So technically, yeah, it's about 5% bigger on the outside than its direct rivals. It's much bigger than a Kia EV5, which is smaller than all these cars. I'm not really sure why the media keeps comparing the EV5 to these cars because, like I said, it is a size smaller. But on the inside, like I said, the sizing is very, very similar to the Model Y and an Xpeng G6. Wheels, it comes standard with 19-inch alloy wheels on the rear-wheel drive. So, you could go smaller if you wanted to. If you went down to 18-inch wheels, you would be able to get more range. It has frequency selective but non-adaptive dampers. I'm not really sure exactly what that means, but anyhow, it's also got LED headlights, a 15.6-inch touchscreen, a 10.25-inch instrument display, and a panoramic glass roof. A lot of EV companies, Tesla, Xpeng, and now BYD, they're doing the panoramic glass roof. And one of the reasons for that is that it opens up more space on the inside of the car. So I think that's quite a good feature. It has black leather seat upholstery. I don't think it's actual real leather, but anyway. It has 8-way driver and 6-way front passenger power adjustable seats with heating and ventilation, heads-up display, that's cool, dual zone climate control, a 12-speaker DIN audio, and 360-degree camera and a heat pump. Now those features though, they are in the premium model. They're not, that's the all-wheel drive model. They don't come in the base version of this car, the rear-wheel drive. The performance model, one of the reasons it gets less range as well is it has bigger wheels. It's got 20-inch wheels, obviously, which look nice, but that will reduce your range a bit. It's got red front brake calipers. I'm not sure what kind of brakes they are. BYD hasn't said. A heated steering wheel, and it's got heated rear seats. Now, strangely, the all-wheel drive version, which is heavier than the rear-wheel drive version and has a lot more power, doesn't get bigger brakes, and there's no other changes to the car at all. So the only way you can tell is by the badging. It doesn't get performance-orientated suspension either. It just has the same suspension as the rear-wheel drive version. And it also doesn't get the adaptive dampers that you get on the BYD Seal. Now, looking at the features, guys, the standard version gets a 12-speaker DIN audio system, but the premium version gets 16 speakers. So there's a few differences here. But I'll just share with you the differences between the rear-wheel drive and the performance. It gives you, well, obviously an extra motor on the front, so more power. Range goes down by about 30 kilometers. And you also get 20-inch wheels, you get red front brake calipers, heated steering wheel, and heated rear seats. I believe the rear seats also have wireless phone charging. So that's kind of cool. Not many cars have that. Wireless phone charging for people in the back and also for people in the front. So some of the features I haven't really spoken about yet. Over-the-air software updates. BYD cars are brilliant for that. They have good over-the-air software updates like Tesla does. That's a really cool feature. Xpeng, BYD, and Tesla, they really are doing a really good job with over-the-air updates that really will improve and give you extra features after you've purchased the car, which is kind of cool. It has keyless entry and start with NFC or phone as a key features. It has wireless phone charging, as I mentioned before, dual zone climate control with PM 2.5 filter, the heads-up display. Now that's a cool feature. Not many cars are getting heads-up displays these days. I like that idea. And I've had them in cars in the past. I've been a big fan of heads-up displays. During the making of this video, I've gone and checked. BYD is saying that this car does have a genuine black leather seat upholstery. That's unusual. I mean, that's not something you see often these days with electric cars. So that's one thing some people would probably like. 8-way power adjustable driver's seat, 4-way power lumbar. Heated and ventilated front seats and just the heated rear seats. A leather trimmed steering wheel. It does have a heat pump. Power folding and heated side mirrors with position memory. Auto tilt in reverse. Auto dimming rear view mirror. Rain sensing wipers. Metal door sill plates. Front and rear parking sensors. 360-degree front, rear and side cameras. 9 airbags. Autonomous emergency braking, lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, front and rear cross traffic alert with braking functions, traffic sign recognition, door exit warning, driver attention monitor, child presence detection. So those are the specs and those are the features. That's what you're going to get for your money. Now, what are people saying about it? What are they saying about the price? Well, one popular comment that I've seen online said this priced correctly to my expectation. Well done, BYD. This pricing is very welcoming and will surely be a big hit. Someone else said that you've lost me as soon as I saw the color options. Don't like the colors. And it seems like a few people agree with that. Now, I actually think the colors are nice. I'm a fan. But anyhow, some people think that as a result of this car, the Model Y Juniper, it'll get a big discount because otherwise Tesla will struggle to sell them. That's possible. Someone else said this, crazy value, but boring black interior kills it for me. Not a fan of the black interior. Now, personally, I like black interiors. I'm not into the white interiors. I think they get dirty. They get marks on them, hard to clean. So I'm a fan of them. Now, here was one really popular comment. It said, I think they priced it correctly. It loses on charging speed to the XPeng G6. Charging speed in the G6 is around 230 kilowatt in the standard range version versus 150 kilowatt in the BYD. And driving efficiency, obviously the XPeng G6 is much lighter, so it's more efficient. But at the same time but at the same price as the XPeng G6, it gets more range. The G6 has 435 kilometers of WLTP range, whereas the BYD gets 480 kilometers of range. You're getting probably about 50 kilometers more range. And he went on to say this, I've seen people in Europe saying it drives like a German car, like Audi, but with more features. If that's true, then it's a great price and it's going to be interesting to see how well they'll sell. That's a really good point. Now, here's the thing. I actually think it's actually quite good value. A lot of standard specification in this car. I mean, you're getting standard leather seats. You're getting pretty much everything standard in both models of the car. That's really good. You're getting a big battery pack. There are some negatives though. Of course, you got to point them out. I mean, let's be honest. The boot space is quite small for a car of this size. The fact that this car is more than 4.8 meters long, but the boot space is only 500 liters will mean some people, families might say, you know what, I need a bigger boot space than that. That is going to be an issue. The XPeng G6 has about 570 liters. The Tesla Model Y has about 670, 680 liters. That's one downside. Another one is the charging speeds, 150 kilowatt versus newer cars. The new Seeker 7X will probably charge, and I'm guessing at around 400 kilowatt. The XPeng G6 does it around 300 kilowatt. Tesla Model Y about 250. So charging speed is a little bit slow. The efficiency is the other issue. Because this is quite a heavy car, it's got a big battery. It's about 250 kilograms heavier than an equivalent cars from other brands. That is going to mean your efficiency will be less, and that is simply a fact. Now, all that aside, it's still a good car. It's good value for money. A lot of standard safety features. For $55,000, you're still getting nearly 500 kilometers of range. I think the base model is a pretty good deal. Now, I think the all-wheel drive version, you're not going to get much out of that. I mean, really, you're just getting more power and extra motor and then less range and bigger wheels, which are going to cost you more on tires and obviously reduce your range. For me, the money is with the standard version, which actually is a pretty good deal. For 486 kilometers of range at around 55,000 Australian dollars, so Americans, that's around probably about 35,000 US dollars. It's actually a pretty good deal. Let me know what you think in the comments.